here is where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a 180, no, a 360. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
A new season, a new tire, but the same old car. The Lotus 79 has one of the most passionate followings on the iRacing service. With the recent updates to the rubber on it, drivers have been working hard to adjust. But as has become a hallmark of many of the vintage series, setups have been freely shared, and many have been doing their best to ensure everyone is able to at least get comfortable. With all this shuffling, will it cause us to see different faces at the top? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 1 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ossian Puhaka. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Road America is a good fit to kick things off for our drivers. It's a circuit that's often described as retaining an old school feel. So learn a little bit more about it. Why don't we hop on down to our track guide? Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But 2 of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why. They see a little bit about Road America, but Ozzy, we've got a great opener with a lot of people interested. So why don't you tell them a little bit more about how this car and track interact?
Oh, it's an interesting scene here, Joe. And it's the start of a new season. We're at Road America, we're at Wisconsin, and we're right next to the great state of Minnesota. And this car has seen some new updates recently. We'll talk about more later, but this car out here on Road America, it is a perfect fit. You got those fast corners where the ground effect will come into play. You got those slow corners where you have to be technical, tight, precise with your lines. You have to be careful with the curbs. And then the carousel, once again, a real challenge, especially once the tires heat up. look out for some real tofu delivery stuff there.
Certainly should be fun, and as we said, it's
Got those fast
appropriate
corners where
for
the ground
this
effect
car.
will come into
Now,
play. You got
let's
those
look at
slow
the
corners for
appropriate
some
points for the end of last season as well, starting with the Drivers' Championship. It was a rout pretty much by Gernot Frische. Not as dominant as it could have been, but he did take a number of wins, the vast majority of them only being beaten on track twice all season. Steve Bycroft wound up narrowly taking second in the championship over Matt Wood, with Sergio Fernandez coming on strong late in the season as well, getting himself up into fourth. And then a bit distant back, the Italian Nicola Cocci winds up rounding out your top five. Of course, they have what's called the Classic Teams Championship here, Ozian. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how the team standings wound up?
It was Ferrari taking it 1 year earlier than in our history, with our 1978 Ferrari team wounding out victorious. Ferrari team wounding out victorious. Mr. Taylor and Mr. Bell as well. It's Tyrrell, Walter Wolf Racing, Parmalat Racing Team, Brabham and Arrows Racing Team. So Lotus wasn't as high as they should have been, but maybe 1979 can bring them some better fortunes. And in case you are wondering what I'm talking about, it's rotating paint seams for these guys. So last season, season 1, 1978. Now we are in 1979, and what a great year that was.
See, you lost me for a second because I thought maybe you were predicting Ferrari winning this season or something there. So now I'm clear on that. Why don't we look at the race details for today, bring us to the present date, and look at what these drivers will be tackling. Of course, we are in round one, as we mentioned, but it is a 22-lap race that they are going to be running out there today. Now, these cars are open setup, as we implied in the drivers are pretty open about sharing most of what they do to try and increase. At 17, you will get a stop and go penalty. You'll be sent into the pits to give some time away for your transgression. And then if you hit 25 of them, you actually disappear off the track immediately. You'll be removed from the surface, and you will have to fall back to wherever you wind up finishing with the laps you completed. Right now, the qualifying is underway, and Alex Millward, as we saw in the warm-up in the practice session before this, he's fast once again. He's got the provisional pole, and by a pretty decent margin over Steve Bycroft.
It's almost as if he's learned to drive since I was looking away.
He's certainly liking this new tire. Not every driver is. We've seen certain quick drivers struggle to try and get this under control. Gernot Frische, really the big one that we're waiting to see how he's going to do in qualifying today, because he didn't do so hot in the race 2 hours ago. And I'm actually trying to see. Yes, he is in here, and he's 17. Only qualified 17th.
Yeah, Cherno's really having trouble, but when you are the master of this car, he's driven this car back in the old tire model days. I'm also watching Alex Millward, and he's having a tough time out here on the second lap. He's certainly trying, but he's all over the place on the curbs and stuff, so I'm not sure if it's gonna be faster. But yeah, Cherno's the big story of the day. Can he recover? He's been really struggling with the car, struggling to adjust, doesn't have as much time to practice as everybody else during the off season. Now in the previous seasons, that's not going to be a trouble because the car doesn't change much. But this time by, it's a whole different car he's jumped in. All the setups are going to be new. Not as much front downforce used in the setups anymore. The balance is different. Everything's changed. And now it's time to see if the old dog can learn some new tricks.
You can see Vascolampi across the line, and is down to 6th in his. Alex Millward doesn't improve either, and Steve Bycroft doesn't. Seems like that first lap is a bit of a money lap for a number of drivers. Just about all of them are finished at this point. Martin Granberg, who's certainly picked up pace as well, doesn't get a second lap and must have had an off track somewhere. Ooh.
2 positions. He went from P20 to P18.
So the number 1 rated car is only in 18th. It is a split today in this series, which for those not familiar with iRacing, that essentially means that they've taken all the cars who have signed up for this race and put them into 2 separate races. These are all the drivers with the higher I rating that we are watching today. And it is a 3,900 average I rating out there. That is a pretty hefty talent pool.
It is indeed. We still got a couple of drivers left. Stefan Schlager with the car number 19. Not that much of iRating with him, but he's got the speed. Let's see if he can beat Cherno. He told us before the race, I'm faster than Cherno right now. Let's see if that's going to be true on the qualifying. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Stefan just a tenth of a second behind. P number 21.
I think that is the last of our qualifiers. So it's time to go through our starting grid. Alex Millward is on that provision. Well, now the official pole, I should say. Jamie Hall starts next to him in second. Steve Bycroft will be P3. Tim Claessens will be starting in fourth position. Then on row 3, Antti Lepisto to the inside, flanked by another Finn, Timo Väskälänpää in P6. Martin Granberg starts 7th today, and Christian Odurola is in 8th. Chris Bauman starts 9th, and Sam Doby rounds out your top 10.
And in P number 11, it's Chiosu Leukata, and position number 12, Rob Olenichak. 10, it's Angelika Pawlowski, Dustin Herröder, Sergio Fernandez, Kendrick Taylor. John Stevens is 17th, and alongside him will be another John Atkinson Jr. Cherno Frisch is only 19th, and in position number 20, it's Philip in and around the lake.
Stefan Schlager starts 21st with Carl Ikonen in 22nd. Peter Koneski, 23rd for him. Martin Krejcik starts P24. Ove Trengrid way far down for him in 25th position. Obviously one of our fast guys that's still adjusting. Pablo Suarez starts 26th today. Then it's 27th for Jesus Pasillas. And Keith Herner is going to start last on the fields. He also has the lowest iRating at about a 2,700 iRating out there, which I'm not exactly a fast driver, and I am a 3,000, so it is still pretty incredible how quick the field is today as they start to get lined up out on the grid. Again, these tires are new, so they're going to have all sorts of qualities that they may not be used to. The starts will have them very cold off the line. Wheel spin is a concern for the drivers.
Wheel spin a real concern, first corner a real concern, and also a real concern is how will Alex Millward get away. He's the pole sitter, but we'll see if he has the mental capacity to make it all the way to the end. He's been fast before, but the real issue is, can he bring it home in one piece, and can he withstand the pressure? We'll see soon.
Green flag is out, and it's a pretty bad start for the top few. In fact, Tim Claessens moves himself up into second, weaving through them quite literally. You can see we had an accident in the back as a car a couple cars actually get hit back there. We'll go to that in a second. Through turn one car off with the cold tires. Everybody else seems to be okay, though.
Yeah, it's Cristiano Tarola back with the cold tires, but we are back to the front. Everybody seems to be okay even after that incident. Alex Millward and Tim Claessens with an amazing start, just weaving through the field. Looked like Keke Rosberg back in the day.
Alex Millward still leading. Claessens coming down into the braking at turn 5, mostly single file until you get back to about Robin Pawlowski, Martin Granberg, Chris Bauman fighting for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Ooh, and side by side.
Oh, Hall and Lepisto going in it.
Indeed, through turn 7, Hall around the outside, but he's holding station. That's going to give him the inside into turn 8. Timo Väskälänpää going to try to come back at him, slides it into the corner, and eventually has to give up. He falls back to P5. That's going to lose them ground on Lepisto, up into 3rd position as our podium starts to stretch away.
Indeed, but it's a long race to go and you have to keep those tires fresh. Remember, they actually do wear out this time. It's not like back in the old days when you got those rocks that didn't wear out. You could use the car any way you like. Mostly the tires were just gonna heat. They were not gonna really wear. Now they really do wear, and that's why these drivers are gonna have to be careful with these battles. And Tim Claessens, well, he's not being careful at all. He's hounding down Alex Millward. And oh, Alex goes a little bit wide already on the last corner. You don't want to get over that curve. Sure, it can turn in real nice, but it can also bite you real quick. And so, an exciting lap 1 show.
Very exciting as they come across the line. Not sure if we want to get a replay on that incident at the start line. I didn't quite see who all was involved. But it looks like our top 3 are at least spread apart enough that maybe we could take a peek at that. Let's pull that one up and take a look at it. Trying to get a look at who was involved in that. Martin Krajcik, we're hearing, was one of the drivers that got himself in a little bit of a tangle.
And I'm expecting Kari Ikonen too, because he started P22, he's now P27, and Martin started P24, and he's now P28.
Oh, and it's Schroeder who didn't get off the line. That's not a tire problem, that's a gearbox problem, it seems, and it's just a mess from there, unfortunately. Schroeder does eventually get the car going, just, oh boy, this is going to be a camera gone. There's one. Oh, gets hit by one car as we come back live. Alex Millward's still leading, but Claeson's, he is all over him now.
He's really hounding him and really up close, up through the kink. Let's see, yeah, Claeson's has to lift ever so slightly as they come through the fast bend. Remember, dirty air is a real factor with these cars. And now through Canada corner they come, and then through Bill Mitchell bend. And, well, it's a close battle up front. Antti Lepistö trying to chase them down, so is Jamie Hall, so is Teemu Vaskilampi and Steve Bycroft, but top two are really nose to tail right now, and Alex doesn't have a moment to breathe. And I told you about this before the race. I haven't seen really like a 100% race from Alex yet. He's been fast, but he hasn't been that consistent. He's been making these tiny mistakes, silly errors, especially when he gets himself to a good position. Let's see if he can withstand the pressure this time. Or will
Behind
he
them, change for position between Steve Bycroft and Vaskilampi potentially. Teemu gonna try and hold him off, but he can't. And Steve Bycroft moves himself into fifth around the outside of turn one. We've got the long Moraine sweep down into turn five. Let's look. I think we're pulling up the replay. Yeah, I think we're safe too, because it doesn't look like Vaskilampi's got a good enough run here.
Yeah, Teemu Vaskilampi trying his best to hold Steve Bycroft off there, but he just has no chance there. When you look at it, he's already on the inside, coming to the main straight. Then they come in turn number one. Steve is known for having less drag in his car than the most, and he set up his car for straight line speed, and we see it paying dividends here in turn number one. But great job by both drivers, giving ample room. Teemu not sliding wide at all, even though they were 50-50 coming into the corner. I'd say if we were in modern day Formula 1, that would have been an accident and both drivers would have blamed each other. But now they did the smart thing and allowed each other the racing room there, which is exactly what you want to see.
Interesting incident at the back of the pack. Gernot Friesche got into the gearbox of John Atkinson Jr., shoving him off course. Gernot kept going. Atkinson unfortunately hit the wall, and he's back on track, but I'm not sure how well that car is sitting.
Yeah, it looked
here.
Yeah, it looked like to me that Cherno just wasn't expecting Atkinson to break that early, and he had to lose 3 positions too. And so Cherno's gonna keep going, but he's dropped back once more. But I don't see any damage in that car of Cherno, so maybe he can still mount a comeback from here. But it's not easy for Cherno. I'm not used to seeing Cherno like this, man. He's vulnerable. He's like a wounded animal.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if his chops in the middle of the pack is a little bit sketchy right now. You could see the damage on poor John Atkinson's car, the rear wing all sorts of bent up. Friesche, though, with a good run on train grade, and he's not going to attempt it into turn one. He'll stick with it. Him gaining on that straight, though, and then Steve Bycroft brings a good point up. You talked about the straight line speed. Usually that's what we talk about, not the tires around a track like this.
Yeah. The drag levels are something that we are usually seeing in four, especially in Road America and in places like Spa-Francorchamps as well. You know, those fast tracks which have fast bends that can feel so great to drive when you are having like a higher downforce setup, but you're losing so much time to straight. But this time it is the tire indeed that is the focal point, and no wonder. So Steve still looks like he has a little bit less wing than a couple of other guys, but they have gone down a lot on the front wings this season. Like, I'm talking big numbers, and the balance of the car has changed so much that really all of the drivers here at Road America have opted for a lower downforce setup than usual.
Saw on screen that Fruscia did get the spot, but he also had a little bit of an off track there. As we take a look at 7th now, Leo Cotta trying to hold off Chris Baumann, taking it slightly deep into the Canada corner. This puts Baumann right underneath that rear wing as they come out of Bill Mitchell Bend. He gets ever closer. If he gets a good enough exit here off the final turn, this is going to be a great opportunity. They're being joined, though. Here comes Martin Brandberg back in 9th as well. What's this going to look like up to turn 1? And look at Leo Cotta just weaving back and forth, trying to break that slipstream.
He's trying and he's being very successful. Here we see the straight line speed. Baumann doesn't have the speed, and Gromberg is going to have to try and attack him into turn number 1, but he can't pull it off. Will he break himself wide toe, Baumann? Yes, he will, but Gromberg just doesn't have to run to capitalize on that. So it's gonna be a long afternoon for Chris Baumann once again. Remember Suzuka? Well, Baumann, he's gonna have issues with straight line speed once again.
That's a good point. We saw that before. And you can see there's quite a
turn number 1, but he can't.
That's Sergio Fernandez at the back of it. Rob Olenik's in there. Roman Pawlowski. Martin Bradberg. Oh, and who is that off? That's Pawlowski.
Wow.
Into the wall.
So he's our first proper casualty of the day. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, he was hit by Rob. He was hit by Rob, I think. Yeah, Rob Olenicek hit him way too late on the brakes.
Yeah, he just slammed into him. And that's the second time that this has happened in this race that I've seen, because we saw Fruscia do that a little bit before with Atkinson. This is from Olenik's view. Look at the net code between them, though.
Yeah, but Rob was braking way too late still. Like Pawlowski was braking earlier, and he was also better on the brakes. And I don't think Rob realized how early he's gonna brake, but Rob was quite late, especially when you consider he was in a 4-car draft. So unfortunately, a little slip up by Rob there. But you know, it was one of those things that looked absolutely worse than it actually was by Rob. I'm sure Rob didn't intend to hit him off, you know, punt him off or anything, but it's just a silly little slip up, and you see it happen even in here, even with the cleanest drivers in the world.
Yeah, everybody's still trying to take time to adjust. The attrition rate's been a bit high. Pawlowski we've seen out. John Atkinson is getting repairs. Pasilius has still sat in the pits. Krejcik is back out, but Odorola has also gone. Meanwhile, Olenik still in the battle with Fernandez. Fernandez is going to be able to come out on top. He has that 10th place, but look at this behind him. That's Sam Doby and Stefan Schlacher now in the mix. Stefan has come up through the field from 21st to 13th. Here's a good run from Doby on Rob Olenik, and he's going to get the slipstream down the Moraine sweep. Coming into turn 5, he's going to have to do it the long way around.
And ahead of them, Baumann. Baumann goes wide into turn number 5. He was past Leo Cotta already, and Leo Cotta got the position 2, and Olenik not so lucky, but it's still great battle in the front of this pack as well, you know. Chris Baumann trying his best to get past Leo Cotta, you know. He was way too late on the brakes, just sliding wide, but they didn't hit each other or anything. He was just absolutely going at it, and that's gonna pack them up once more. Gromberg, Fernandez, Olenik, Schlacher, Doby. Schlacher actually getting past Doby right now, and he goes into P number 12. Is this gonna allow Kendrick Taylor to get back into the mix? We will have to wait and see, but past Carousel, it's an amazing gaggle here. And I mean a gaggle.
It really is, and Schlacher really sent it in as we ride on board with him. That was an incredible move. Unfortunately, we don't have time to look at it now because things still very tight between all this huge pack of cars. And he's taking another look, actually scaring Rob Olenik off the line, out-braking himself into Canada corner, but he holds on to the position. Clearly, Rob is rattled as he's made numerous mistakes so far the last couple laps.
Yeah, he's a little bit rattled. He is in a difficult position too because he has to attack and defend, and now defend even more as Stefan is all the way in the back of him. Look at Chris Baumann now. He's ever closer to Leo Cotta in the front of the pack, but still doesn't have the straight line speed advantage. But let's stick with this now, because last time into turn number 5, Chris was absolutely like sending it in on the brakes. Just absolutely sending it in. We'll have to see if that happens once more here. He's so much better in the corners.
All right, this will give us a good view on it. We saw it at Suzuka. He falls back a little bit, even with a slipstream. So he's staying even here, at least for the time being, holding on to Leocata. That's what he needs to stay within range to send one in deep. Behind him, it's side by side as well between Fernandez and Grandberg. Grandberg actually goes wide himself. Fernandez is going to get the spot as that's going to disrupt Rob Olenek. And now Stefan Schlacher is going to try and take advantage of it as he goes around the outside of turn 6, which is a very difficult ask, but it keeps the car side by side up to turn 7. He's not brave enough to keep it wheel to wheel through there.
Rob gave him room, though. Rob gave him room into the next corner, even if Stefan was no longer alongside. Here comes Stefan back again. They touch wheels, but Stefan makes it through round the outside and secures the position in carousel. Wow, so Rob went from being a little bit rattled to maybe a little bit too nice, and that cost him a position. But Stefan, wow, he was showing some world-class toughness out there.
Elbows out, boys. And ahead of them, Leocata got passed by Bowen in the carousel as well, using that extra downforce to great effect. But now he's got to try and get as far away from Leocata as he can, because he's going to be a sitting duck up on the longest straightaway coming up here after the final turn.
Yeah, he is, and he's making up great ground in these last couple of corners. You really see that higher downforce setup paying dividends, but we'll have to see if it's enough. Main straight, he'll have to hold on. 10 first corner, gets a little bit of an advantage there due to the downforce. 10 the third corner, which is actually the second corner, and 10 once again. Chiosu's gonna have a run, but he's run the outside, and we'll see if he commits to it fully. No, Prix able to hold him up very well on the inside. Trusting those brakes and starting to trust the car as well.
There was 5 miles an hour difference between them at the end of the straightaway. That's how much he was gaining. If Leocata doesn't watch out, though, Fernandez is winning.
Jamie Hall has to give up the position really easily coming into turn number 5. I wonder what's up with that, you know. Jamie Hall was 5th, now he's 6th.
We're going to take a look at the replay, and I can tell you that Leocata was held off once again down the Moraine sweep, so don't need to see that. Just dips to the inside, and Vascalopi makes it look easy.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. He's been, let's see the last lap time actually between those two. Vascalopi 55.7, Jamie Hall 55.7. So Jamie Hall just, has to give it up on this particular lap. Jamie Hall will see if he can battle back. He's a fighter, but after starting from P number 2 in this race, I must say it wasn't the best of starts for him. And right now, them getting past him, it hasn't been the best of races so far. But we are still, as amazing as it sounds, we are still one of a third way through.
There's been so much happening. It feels like it's been a lot more. Up at the front, by the way, Millward's still leading by about a second, but we're going to look at the battle for 8th because Leocata, after being passed by Baumann, is on the defensive once again. Sergio Fernandez, Martin Grandberg, and Stefan Schlacher lining up to see if they can get positions.
And look at Baumann just running away with that position once he got past. He's so much faster in the corners. Let's see if Fernandez can make that happen. Grandberg, Schlacher, all of those guys. They just gonna have to make it happen if they ever want to catch Chris Baumann once more. Otherwise, he's up and away in that 7th place. Fernandez trying his best, being able to hold a little bit of a tighter line. You can see the increased slip angles this season with his cars. And we can see the back ends breaking away at some points too, especially later on in this race. Look out for that.
Meanwhile, 2nd place, did this just change hands? Claeson's ahead of Lepisto. I'm not sure if they were in that same order before.
They were. Yeah, but Lepisto is really up close right now. Tim Claeson's just ahead of him. Losing a little bit of ground to Alex Milward, 0.2 of a second on the last lap, and that's all of the battle cry that Antti Lepisto will need. He was complaining a lot last week. We were doing some testing together for old time's sakes, and Antti was complaining a lot about this car back then, and there was a lot of setup talk among the Finns, and it seems that it has paid off somewhat, because Antti is right now P number 3, Teemu is P number 5, and Antti is looking to hunt down Tim and see if Tim was just a little bit too aggressive for his own good early on, if he had the setup dialed up for the early part of this race. And right now, when the going gets tough, he is slowing down ever so slightly in comparison to Alex, but Joe, I'm gonna tell you, if old signs are anything to go by, I'm not saying Alex is safe yet. He's just not.
Tim is all over the place, though. He's sliding everywhere as we watch Stefan Schlacker. Looks like he's working on Martin Granberg as they come around the final turn. Now he needs to focus on the exit to see if he can get something on this green machine. It's looking decent. I don't know if he's close enough, though. They're starting to pick up speed, 150 miles an hour, and he is gaining slightly, but that slipstream doesn't seem powerful enough to go on the attack down into turn 1.
No, and Stefan's gonna have to just be patient, bide his time, wait for it. He could see that he has better line than Martin Granberg right now, and he's looking to turn number 3, see if he can make it happen. No, he can't. But once again, he is able to get just a little bit closer to the apex. And those are the little things that we don't necessarily pick up from the TV screen, but the driver is gonna pick up when he's following another driver. Look out into turn number 5. We're gonna maybe have a double battle even, because out in the front it's close as well. Stefan is looking into it and braking very late, sending it in. Can he break it? Yes, he can. With the inside front wheel locking up, Martin Granberg's gonna look back up to him in turn number 6, but he doesn't have the room. And Stefan closing the door shut as if it were a thunderstorm and saying, "Thank you, come again."
I can't believe he made that stick. I thought he was off into the runoff there. It's the second time he's pulled a move like that, just mighty on the brakes, and that gets him into the top 10 with that move. Behind them, it's also been a bit of a tussle between Olenek and
Oh, no! Alex Milward is tumbling down the kink. Sorry for the viewers. Alex Milward has binned it. Oh no, he hasn't actually. It was a lapped car. John Atkinson Jr. losing it in the kink, and Alex just absolutely T-boning it.
He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. This gifts the lead to Tim Claessens. This is the replay right here. Atkinson trying to just continue on, get his car around and pick up some spots of those who DNF. Oh, car bounced back onto the track right when he didn't need it. Ooh,
yeah.
So who was that hit him?
Let's see, it was Teemu Vaskilampi. Teemu hit him. So we'll see, have to see about damage from Teemu, but I mean, his car looks relatively alright, but it has to have some damage after that, you know. Just Alex bouncing all over the track, looking like scenes from Driving here. After the kink, but the leader right now, Tim Claessens, he's being hounded down by Antti Lepistö, who is hounded down by Steve Bycroft, and Teemu Vaskilampi is still not too far away from them. So all of a sudden, this 3-car battle show that we saw earlier on, it's no longer for the second place. It's the lead. That means up the ante and let's go, baby.
Yeah, it seems like just like that, the picture can change. I'm keeping an eye on this battle for the lead. Let's get the cameras close on Vaskilampi and see if we can pick up any sort of damage on there. It could have been net code that we saw that caused that contact between them. His computer may not have picked it up. I'm not seeing anything, to be honest, on that Williams.
Yeah, nothing. I'm gonna see the top speeds. 264 this time by on the end of the main straight. Let's see, earlier on he was doing, that's kilometers per hour by the way, and he was doing 264 as well, so he's at the same speed and straight line speed wise as well.
Alright, so it looks like he almost literally dodged a bullet there as he's able to keep up, but he's got a little ground to make up on these top 3. Looks like Fernandez and Schlacker are going to try and get some fun as well. Fernandez, also one of our drivers that is slipping and sliding around. It is pretty hot today. We haven't mentioned it with so many other stories to talk about. It's 98 degrees Fahrenheit out on the track surface. So they are not only dealing with a new tire, but a very greasy track.
Yeah, and that's why the Finns are a little bit further down than usually. We don't like the hot weather too much. You say that, but Keke was actually at his best in hot weather for some reason. But enough about history. Fernandez Leocata, P number 7, P number 8. Fernandez is his usual aggressive, fast self, but he's making a little bit
we gotta go to the lead. We gotta go to the lead because Lepistö gets to the inside of Tim Claessens. down into turn 5. Doesn't quite get it away. They're still wheel to wheel as they come through turn 6. They once again slide it through the corner. Claessens fends him off successfully the hard way, and it pays off with the inside of turn 7.
Yeah, but look at how wide Claessens went on the next corner, but Antti just has to give up the position, not quite yet. He got a good run into turn number 5, but it wasn't quite enough. Antti's gonna have to come back at him, just, keep his head down, and we'll have to see what Steve Bycroft does behind him. Does Steve allow them to battle and pick up the racings from the bun later on, or does Steve fancy that second place and see if he can make an attack on Team Claessens? We have to wait and see, but Antti, he's on a charge and, well, he doesn't look to have any of those troubles he was talking to me about, so maybe.
We report that Schlacher also got by Fernandez, and also Gernot got by Kendrick Taylor. He is up to 13th now, having qualified in 19th, so at least he's making some progress through the field. It's certainly been slow going compared to someone like Stefan Schlacher.
Yeah, it's been, and he actually passed him on the exit of Carousel. I haven't seen that too many times before, but at least it wasn't the inside.
You talk about the Finns not liking the hot weather. I would think slippery conditions would suit you guys. Just pretend that it's gravel or something.
Yeah, we can't, unfortunately. Also, out from your pictures, Schlacher has actually gotten past Fernandez. He's now up into P number 8.
Yeah,
Fernandez is in P number 9, and Fernandez looking to get back at him, but Stefan Schlacher, he's been a real mover through the field. Seems like he didn't like when we mentioned maybe he was listening to the broadcast, maybe he didn't like we mentioned about his qualifying pace not being as fast as Cherno, despite claiming so, and now he's going to be repeating it.
Fernandez is on him once again. Fernandez is looking quick in a straight line, but as they break down into turn 5, Stefan comes back in the braking zone, almost shoves him off course as he tries to take to the racing line on the exit, so Fernandez has to back down.
Yeah, no, he was ahead. He was ahead at that point, but he was also making sure he would stay ahead. Oh, Schlacher lost it. 360, he's back again. Wow, what a save.
Oh, almost loses it, trying to get it going once again, and nearly runs into Sam Doby. Let's watch the onboard. Oh boy, this is some phenomenal car control from the number 19. Just the tiniest bit of wheel off in the grass. Oh man, gonna need a new race suit after that one, but that at least stops the bleeding down to 12th place, but it actually puts him just ahead of Gernot Friesche. So the irony is even though he'd made a lot more progress than Gernot, he's now essentially back exactly where he is.
Yeah, he is, and just one little mistake, getting a little bit too wide, getting a little bit too anxious. He was pushing hard, and then he got to pushing too hard. And well, he got onto the grass, but did a nice 360. That is actually the most basic thing about car control, is how to do a 360 with your car. But when half of that is in the grass, well,
Our leader just spun out of the lead. Claessens is off the course and down to 5th in turn 3. He gets it going, lighting up the tires, but Antti Lepistu is now up into the lead. And I know we're on replay, but we need to stay on this replay because there's a battle for the lead happening once again down into turn 5. There's the spin from Tim Claessens. Lepisto and Bycroft now going at it.
Lepisto holds on in turn number 5. And what happened to Claessens there? He got into the grass coming into turn number 3. Same thing as happened to Stefan. Just a little bit too hungry of a line, and that's what's going to happen. But Steve Bycroft not able to capitalize on Antti Lepisto just yet. And Vaskilampi joining into the mix as well.
That's 2 leaders that we've lost in this race. Incredible stuff here in the opening round. We were focused on the new tire model, but instead it looks like it's the drivers up at the front having trouble just staying out of problems. As they come through the kink, Lepisto has a 0.3 of a second gap. Vaskilampi still in it as well. 0.5 of a second back from Steve Bycroft. Jamie Hall has gained ground. He is potentially in the mix with about 0.8 of a second behind Vaskilampi.
It's been absolute drama throughout the field here today. We got two leaders who have both been out. One by a lapped car, one all by himself. I'm sure Tim Claessens is absolutely fuming at himself inside that German colored helmet, or Belgian colored helmet, I should say. I may have just insulted the man. He is Belgian, not German.
Oh, and Chris Bauman had a big off.
Oh, side by side for the lead. Steve Bycroft on the outside, and Antti Lepistö on the inside. Can he hold on? Bycroft breaking very late, and he gets through. But Antti's gonna come back at him at turn number 3. Is he? He's looking to the inside. No, he's gonna take a good run into turn number 5. He's being a smart man. Look at Steve missing the apex there, and Antti's gonna have an excellent run. He's gonna look to the left, to the right, to the middle, to the top and the bottom, even if he can. Antti's gonna see if the inside is open. It is. There's a car speed, but Antti doesn't go for it yet. Here he goes now. Braking later, both braking very late, but Steve is gonna able to turn it in, and as such, barely hold on to that lead. And Teemu looking behind them, just licking his chops, waiting for one single mistake. Jamie Hall into the mix as well and show. Well, can you pass me my heart medicine, please?
Oh my goodness. And look at how much the cars are sliding in all this process, too. I have not seen this much slip angle in these cars in quite a while. I can't tell if it's the heat or the new tires or what is going on, but they are just barely holding on by the skin of their teeth. Jamie Hall, as you mentioned, now very much into the mix. Tim Clayson's about 6 seconds back. If they keep fighting like this, he maybe could run them down, considering his speed. They've got a brief moment of respite as they come down into Canada corner. And did something happen in 10th place here? It looks like Doby, Olenek, and Schlacher all together.
There was a lot of smoke, at least, on the side of the track. And oh, Doby's gonna come under attack by Schlacher. He has not given up just yet. Schlacher gonna come up from P number 11 to P number 10, and he's through on Sam Doby into Canada corner and going really sideways there indeed. And Rob is the next victim for Stefan. So Stefan has not given up just yet, and the way this race has gone, you never know how high he may climb in this race yet.
Exactly, and I tell you what, Olenek was way wide into Canada corner himself. He could have run away with that side-by-side battling, but he's given up an opportunity. Doby with the slipstream up the front stretch, and Schlacher does not defend. He's going to let him get to the inside. He's been good on the brakes. Does he feel confident enough? He almost pinches him down just enough to keep him behind. Boy, this is some real confidence from that number 19 on what he can do into the corners.
Yeah, that was really brave stuff. But then again, they were side by side in the corner, and technically, Stefan had the better line. Sam had to be brave on the brakes. Stefan gave him absolutely no room at all on the turn into the corner, and if it wasn't Sam Doby on the inside, I'm sure he wouldn't have gotten away from that one, because most drivers would have just liked a little bit more room entering the corner. But fair play to Stefan, he made it stick. Sam gave him room and he kept the position.
That's what I love, is it's been hard but fair racing between a lot of these drivers today as they continue on the battle. Olenek still dealing with Schlacher, who once again gets his nose into there and only barely has enough room into turn 8. Now, we've seen him make some great moves here in the carousel before. Can he find something this time? Doesn't look like it, but he's squared off the corner nicely, and he's going to get a magnificent run down towards the kink in Canada corner.
Yeah, and look for those cars sliding away. Hey, Stefan! Not quite yet. I didn't ask for a demonstration. Just to be clear, but look for those cars sliding away in Canada corner as we approach the end of this race. There is that bump about 2/3 of a way through, after the halfway on the inside, and after that bump the car can get really loose when you go over that one. Stefan going over the bump on Bill Rainey Bend as well. He's using all of the track and then some, but he's not, perhaps doing it the fastest way possible. He's being a little reckless, but I'll tell you what, it is entertaining.
Up in second place, Bycroft starting to pull a little bit of a gap. Lepistö instead on the rear
Sergio. Oh, past Leo Kata. Fernandez did it finally into turn number 1.
Yeah, just had a great run up the front stretch. Had a lot more speed, and that allowed him to get through. And we've seen this a lot. He's had a lot of straight line speed, so I'm not sure that Leo Kata's going to be able to come back at him down into turn 5. He's looking decent. He's going to poke his nose a little bit out to the middle of the track, but Sergio also covers him off, so they stay put.
They stay put indeed, and Meanwhile, back in the lead, Steve Bycroft has gotten away since getting past Antti Lepistö. 3/10 of a second last time by, and when they came into turn number 5, I was looking at Vaski Lampe, I was looking at Jamie Hall, and they were biting on the heels of Antti Lepistö, telling for him to go, 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 and I'm sure there was some Finnish exchange between Teemu and Antti, and I'm not sure if I can translate that into the broadcast either.
We'll save it for later, as Teemu have really trying his best to keep up. Jamie Hall as well, starting to try and put some pressure on. Remember, we said he was getting into the game, and he's actually closer to Teemu than Teemu is to Antti right now.
Yeah, that's been the case for the last couple of laps ever since he got through. And meanwhile, I'm just looking away into some other battles. But there is, I think, the lead story is something we should focus on for at least this time by, because Steve Bycroft, he wasn't the fastest qualifier, but we saw his potential last season. Joe, do you think that now with Cherno so far down, he's in P number 12? And now with a couple of other guys, we don't have Aleksi Elomaa this season. We have some fast guys. We have a lot of fast guys still. But Bycroft, he is looking really, really strong. Do you think it's his time to finally shine? Now that Cherno's nowhere in the early part of the season, at least.
I think it's his time to shine. But if I know Steve, he is, if we even ask him about it, he's just going to brush it off and not look that far ahead at this point. Just probably take it a race at a time, as he tends to do. Behind him is really where the battle is, as Lepistö has now been caught by Vaskilampi once more, turning on the afterburners once again. We're down to 5 laps to go. At the start of this race, we thought there was more action than a race could contain, and now the race is nearly over.
Do you want the statistic?
Yes, go for it.
Last lap time, Steve Bycroft 1:54.509. Antti Lepistö 1:54.509.
Wow. Oh, tight racing here up at the top of the field. Everybody going at 10/10 to try and wring everything out of these cars. I love this new tire model, if I'm honest. I don't know if the drivers are loving it, but from a spectator's point of view, this has been phenomenal.
Oh, between drivers, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some are absolutely loving it, some are hating it. We see Nicola Cocci not even participating today. He wasn't feeling comfortable. I'm not calling him out, just naming him as an example. We see Cherno obviously not liking it too much, it seems. We see a couple of others further back down than they perhaps should be. And then we have drivers who are absolutely loving it. I know Alex has been loving it. He was absolutely ballistic earlier on in the qualifying and in this race as well, before misfortune struck him. And we're also seeing some new names perhaps closer to the front than they have been before.
We had Trangarade. Sorry. Trangarade has ended his race prematurely. He was another one who climbed up through the field quite a ways. I think it was up to about 13th or so. And you could see he just speared into the tires in Canada Corner.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do with these cars. I was actually thinking Uwe was going to be one of those guys who are battling for top 10s, maybe even top 5s, just based on the fact that he's used to the Lotus 49. And he's used to those slip angles, and he can manage tire, but, not doing just so well early on.
Yeah, as we come back to the lead, he's also notorious for liking a loose car, too, so you'd think he would really just take to this like a duck to water. Doesn't seem to be the case quite yet, as looks like Stefan's back in it again, and this time with Rob Olenek. He slides and they come together. Rob catches the car, but 2 drivers get by him. That's Frisha and Dobie slipping through, and I think that's damage on the car.
And Dobie's going to come back.
Here comes Dobie to the inside of turn 8. Not quite through, though.
No, not quite, but he is gonna try the over-under. He has to actually lock up the brakes, does Sam Dobie, middle of carousel, and Cherno Fritz is watching like, boys, come on, be careful now. And he is maybe thinking about the top 10 here after all.
Gaining yet more positions, just picking them off one by one, showing why he is a multi-time champion. Even if he doesn't have the speed, he's been cool and calm. He's been just keeping the car together while everybody ahead of him falls apart. And another big slide from Dobie puts him right underneath that rear wing.
Yeah, and when you see that red helmet, when you see the red Baron, the Rote Kampflieger, Oh, Olenek goes into the wall, yeah. As I was about to say, when you see the Lotte Kampflieger behind you in your mirrors, even if it's, he's slower than usual, you still are gonna just instinctively give way.
I think Olenek touched the grass on the way in. No, he just simply outbraked himself.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Dobie and Schlacher are side by side and they collect each other out. And Stefan Schlacher goes absolutely tumbling side over side, end over end. Horrible side-winding snap roll on the exit of turn number 1. Horrible scenes here at the infamous second corner of Road America.
Yeah, that invisible second corner.
It was very visible for Stefan. He surely got turned.
Yeah, just a little bit of grass, unfortunately, and that sent him across the track. It all ended in tears. More of our drivers from the top falling by the wayside as we watch that battle for the top. Vascalampi and Lepisto continuing to fall away from Bycroft. Late in the race, his car is flying. It's up to 1.6 seconds that he is ahead of the rest of the podium, with Jamie Hall gaining on Vascalampi coming down into the Canada corner, but he's not close enough to have an attack, so he sits back.
Yeah, Jamie is really on the popcorn position. We thought about the popcorn position before. He's at it again. Ahead of him, I was watching Teemu on Carousel. He was getting really sideways. It looked like he was tumbling maybe a Ford Escort down Oninpohja, not a Lotus 79 at Road America. Teemu, it is tarmac. Drive like it's tarmac. It's the faster way after all. But it's certainly entertaining watching these two guys go at it. Anti's being a little bit more careful perhaps, but neither of them can afford to slow down. Not the Jamie behind them, and Teemu makes a mistake. And goes into the wall. No, not like this.
Oh, I thought he had it. I thought he just went wide and was going to get back, but the grass is slippery, and unfortunately, it was into the wall for him. That was going to send him into a hard hit. He might be able to limp it home. Here's the replay. Oh, it snapped on him.
Yeah,
he had to catch.
Yeah, he was going into the corner. He was maybe thinking, okay, I'm going a little bit too sideways in here. I'm going too far to the inside. I don't want to hit that edge of the grass. So he corrected it, but just as he corrected it, he wasn't having enough throttle in it. That's the problem. He wasn't booting the throttle as he was correcting it, and that's why it snapped on him, went all the way to the left, went across that sand trap, gravel pit, then went into the grass and finally into the tires, and then even turned into the concrete barrier and hit the concrete barrier once more. And he is not gonna finish that race car, sadly.
Yeah, he had to take a tow. It just wasn't running well enough. The incredible thing, all these accidents that we're seeing has left us with 16 cars still running out of our 28 starters. It has been a bloodbath out there late in the race, losing a number of drivers. So you have to wonder if you just maybe back it down to 9/10ths instead, you could get a decent finish out of it.
Yeah, you can get a very decent result as well, as we are watching Jamie Hall and Antti Lepisto coming into the last lap of this race, along with your race leader Steve Bycroft, of course. Can Antti hold on? That is the real question. Actually, I'm gonna look to see. Oh, Leo Kata and Fernandez. Leo Kata and Fernandez actually battling for P number 6, as Fernandez made a mistake on Canada corner.
Yeah, Leo Kata very close behind him, and you can see they've also got Martin Grandberg in the mix too. He could maybe find himself gaining a lot of time if they go side by side. Fernandez, who's been fast down the straight, still being chased by Leo Kata. As they come up into turn 1, Giosu has got a big head of steam himself, but not enough to win. Oh no, he's too deep into the corner. He collects it before it goes into the grass. Here comes Grandberg now, seeing and licking his chops, hoping that he could get a spot.
Yeah, the Swedish driver is certainly loving these scenes right now. Martin Granberg, and also Martin Granberg trying to get a good run into turn number 5. We'll have to see if it lasts.
So as Leo Kata goes defensive briefly and then comes back to the racing line down into the braking of turn 5. I think he's got it collected now.
Yeah, he is, and I'm looking at Carousel also, where our race leaders are, and I'm looking at Jamie Hall, and he has caught up a little bit into the back of Antti Lepisto, especially as Antti goes a little bit wide on the exit. But I'm not sure if he is close enough, Joe. I'm not sure, but he's trying.
because it's the final lap. We haven't even mentioned that the white flag has flown and Bycroft ahead of them has got a 2-second gap. This is going to be it for Jamie Hall down into Canada Corner, probably the last good place to pass, and it has slipped through his fingers. Unless a mistake comes from Lepisto, it's going to be very tough for him to get by from here. Meanwhile, let's go to Steve Bycroft as he comes up to the finish line, over the hill, the crest to the checkered flag. Bycroft starts things off with a victory, starting the race from third place, a win for Steve. Lepisto takes second, and Hall rounding out the podium.
Yep, Tim Claessens, who had a chance to fight for the win, coming up in P number 4, and Fernandez is 6th, Leocata, Gramberg, and Frisch. And story of the race, Cherno Frisch, starting 19th, finishing in P number 8. On paper, that looks good, but his pace, concerning.
Yeah, he made the best of a bad situation, that's for sure. Kendrick Taylor going to come home behind him. Another one that climbed forward from 16th to 9th. Remember Heroder, with the driver that had that contact with a bad start? He actually wound up in 10th, a gain from 14th on the grid. We only have 15 drivers on the lead lap, by the way.
Yeah.
Suarez is going to wind up in 11th.
And Chris Bauman is 12th. Look at the state of Chris Bauman's car. The back end is all messed up, but still he managed to bring that wrecked race car home in 12th. Olenik, P number 13. I'm still gonna get the hang of his name because I'm reading it like a Polish name, and it is not. Well, it is at some point in time, but
American names can be tricky sometimes, and Keith Erner's the last on the lead lap. We're going to send ourselves to a little bit of a break now, catch our breath from a fantastic one out there. Don't go away. We'll have the official results as well as driver interviews, and on your screen you're going to see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to Road America. We were wondering what all the question marks would result in. Well, it resulted in an amazing race, just incredible stuff on track with all kinds of twists and turns, especially for Steve Bycroft, who in the end wound up winning it from third on the grid. Antti Lepisto from 5th to 2nd for him. He fell off at the very end and had to fend off Jamie Hall, who got himself a 3rd place, even though he qualified on the front row. Still a lot of action for him as well. Tim Claessens, he's baffled about what happened in this race. He was up to the lead at one point, and he threw it away with a bad corner through turn 3. Unfortunately, he could only climb back up to 4th. Sergio Fernandez, coming from 15th to 5th with a lot of top-end speed, was battling with Leo Cotta at the very end. He took 6th. Martin Grandberg, about the only driver I think finished where he started, 7th to 7th. Gernot Frisch Number 1 on his car, but he qualified 19th and had to settle for 8th. He's scratching his head, I'm sure, after that one. Kendrick Taylor with a 9th place, and Dustin Hirota, despite not getting off the line, still got 10th place.
Pablo Suarez started 26th, right on the back of the field, came home 11th. What a result for him. Chris Bauman, after a tough race, finishing 12th. Not as tough as Rob did, 13th after a highlight reel of maybe agony of defeat. More for Rob than the triumph of victory. John Stevens finishing 14th. Keith Turner coming all the way through the field from 28th to 15th. And then it's Martin Krejcik, 1 lap down, 16th. Teemu Vaskilampi, 17th. I'm sure he would have been higher had he not just brought the car into the pit lane and finished it instead. Stefan Schlacher, 18th. Sam Doby, 19th. And Uwe Trengride is gonna round out your top 20, but he is 5 laps down and classifies as retired cars, as do the rest of the field.
Yeah, you can see everybody there on down, many laps down with DNF today. Not so for Steve Bycroft, our winner. I have to imagine you've got to be grinning ear to ear because from our perspective, that battle for the lead was incredible, Steve.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The new tire, that's what we're going to get now because it changes during the race, so we're going to see guys slower, at the start and then come forward at the end. And, from lap to lap, it's going to be a little different. So it should be a lot more exciting.
And speaking of which, we saw that it was pretty hot out today, too. It seemed like many drivers were getting pretty sideways out there. What's the car like on this new tire in these hot conditions?
Well, we're still getting used to it. So I don't think anybody's really figured it out yet. So we still got a lot of work to do, to see how the tire is going to act under different conditions. But so far, it's a lot of fun. The first tire was pretty bad, so we kind of worked on it and told iRacing, hey, this is not that good. It's kind of bad. So they patched it, and it feels a lot better now after the patch.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear that they listen to the community. Now, I know it's very early days and probably don't want to talk about this yet, but we saw a horrible race for the usual front runner, Gernot Friesche, and you are looking very strong. Is your mind at least lighting up and thinking, I could maybe have a shot at a championship finally?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to see. The tire, it's going to change a lot, I think, through the season. Gernot, I think today was probably the first time on the new tire. So we'll see him back up at the front here next week or the week after.
Awesome stuff. It was fun to watch you battling it out with all the top names here and giving us some great action. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you some more next week.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys.
That was Steve Bycroft, our winner today. Up next, we have Ossian Tech talking to his fellow countryman, Teemu Vaskilampi.
Teemu, moro, sulla oli ihan hyvä kisa. Mites aika jo meni ihan ok, kisa meni ihan ok, ja sen jälkeen se ei mennyt enää niin hyvin. Mitä siinä oikein tapahtui sulle pari kiekkaa ennen maalia? Voit puhua ihan suomea.
Ai suomeksi. No siis mulla oli vauhtia joku arvioista puolisekkaan enemmän kuin eilen olevilla, niin piti nyt jotain koettaa. Olisi voinut istua tietenkin helppoon top 3, mutta piti yrittää. Ja en mä tiedä, vähän liian aggressiivisesti hyökkäsin vaan siihen mutkaan, kun yritin saada sitten runnia seuraavalle suoralle. Halusin olla lähellä siinä, mutta se nyt vaan sitten vähän lipsahti. Liikaa yritystä.
So Teemu saying there, he could have sat behind, but he's a racing driver and wants to race and wanted to have a good run into the next corner, so got a little bit too aggressive and that's what happened there. No Teemu, miten sitten kauden alussa, sä oot treenannut paljon tällä uudella renkaalla, kuten muutkin, kuinka monta tuntia sulla on nyt tällä hetkellä niin kuin treeni oikein alla?
En ole laskenut, mutta varmaan 20-25.
So Teemu saying 20-25 hours of practice with this new tire model. No, miten sitten Teemu jatkossa? Kausihan jatkuu vielä, kausi on vasta nuori. Sijoitus täältä ei ollut kovin korkea, 17, mutta eihän niitä lasketa. Vauhti oli top 3. Antaako tämä luottoa loppukautta varten?
Toki, joo. Ja mukava oli taistella näitä vastaan, jotka on yleensä päässyt karkuun aina. Nyt katsotaan nyt, miten jatko menee. Että jatkuuko tämä vire vai meneekö takaisin entiseen.
So Teemu saying there he's absolutely loving to battle with these guys he's usually slower than, and he'll have to see if the pace continues the same or will we go back to the previous form. Teemu, siitä vielä ihan loppuun vapaa sanaosio, kiitoksia kuulumisia, terveisiä kaverille, perheelle, tutuille, sukulaisille tai yhteistyökumppaneille.
Ei tässä muuta, siinä on tärkeimmältä.
So, Teemu,
kiitos Lotus 79 communitylle, se on aika hyvä porukka.
So, asking Teemu if he has any greetings, and no, just greetings to the Lotus 79 community. It's a good bunch of guys. Kiitti Teemu ja ei muuta kuin seuraava.
Okay, bye.
Joe, you have the next one?
I do indeed. I always love when we get drivers to be able to talk in their native tongue here. And looks like we've got Alex Millward real quick, who unfortunately was leading early on in the race and then had an unceremonious end. Alex, sad to see you wind up as low down as you did, but it seems before the accident you had a good control on things. Tell us about it.
Hi, Joe. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I think I had adjusted my setup from the early race. I had a really high downforce setup and I was getting eaten on the straights by Antti and Steve, figuratively. So I adjusted the setup to come in the second half of the race and be really low downforce. And it was working, and just as I was starting to pull away, the inevitable happened, unfortunately. I don't know who it was. I think they must have had damage in front of me. Was I right?
Yeah, that was trying to remember, Peter Konecki, I think. No, John Atkinson. John Atkinson Jr. was the one. He got involved in the opening accident and unfortunately was dealing with a limping car, it seemed.
Well, I'm in hospital. It was a high-speed crash. My wife is expecting flowers, champagne, and maybe some chocolate. And hopefully next week is a better run at...
let's talk. Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about next week, because a very different track, even though it's very high speed, a lot of fast corners there at Mosport. How are you expecting for the car to handle on the new rubber there?
Probably higher pressures, higher wing, a bit of a balance shift, because it's going to be fast corners going, braking uphill. Yeah, it's going to be a lot different to this. We'll see how it plays out, though. We'll see what the top speeds come through the week in practice, and then everyone will start fiddling with the setups. I think my panic today was I won the race previously, but only just. Steve had it on the straights, and then adjusting it for this race, it was like, yeah, okay, that's much better. So it's all about finding those top speeds with a new tyre and what you can push on it.
Well, regardless, we were appreciative for the action that you did give us at the start, and commiserations. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you next week, sir.
Cheers, Joe.
That was Alex Millward to put it on pole, but finished in 21st in the end. Let's close it out with a big thank you to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And also a thank you to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Thanks go out to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Ossian, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media, where we're GSR Channel on Twitter. Facebook is Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support the channel, we've got a merchandise store linked below in the YouTube description. And also, we've got our subscribe button just below the video as well. Make sure and click that big red button so that you don't miss a moment here on the GSRC. As we mentioned, we're going to Mosport, over to Canada, just hopping across the border. That'll be Sunday, March 22nd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, we'll see you on the track.